My name is Leonard Thomas. I have been selling homes for over 33 years. Good morning, Bravo and Anthony and User. And I've been training agents for almost that long. Hi, Carolyn from Houston. And I've helped probably close to 1,500 families buy, sell, lease, or invest in real estate. And I started doing social media about I guess almost 8 weeks ago now. And my channel is very different. My channel isn't about trying to find buyers or sellers. My channel is about trying to help other realtors with their real estate business, learn from the mistakes that I've made doing this for 33 years. So if you're just joining us this morning, good morning, Susie. Good morning, Sylvia and Anthony and Margot. Thanks so much. If you're in real estate and you're watching us this morning, please just drop any question down below. And if you're watching this morning and you're not in real estate, good morning, Laura and Sussy and Melanie and me. And if you're watching this morning and you're not in real estate, but you have a question about buying or selling a home, please feel free to ask the question down in the comments. Good morning, Fendi. Stay up, pray up, Francisco and Bianca. Good morning. Chris, should a new agent join a team or go solo? So that's a fantastic question. And it doesn't matter if you're a new agent or a seasoned agent, whether you should join a team or go solo depends on a lot of things. So um, it really depends on your personality, depends on what your goals are, depends on how knowledgeable you are about real estate in general. When I first got in the business 33 and a half years ago, I didn't join a team. I'm sort of a self-regulated go-getter, overachiever type personality. So I didn't really need checks and balances. I didn't need too much accountability to every morning go and prospect, every day go and knock on for sale by owner doors. Again, this is 33 and a half years ago before the internet. And I was really, really focused on learning every single day as soon as I got in the business, learn about inspection reports, learn about title policies, learn about title commitments and surveys and roofs and foundations. So I would say it really depends on your personality. If you're really brand new in the business, one of the biggest benefits to joining a team, hopefully, isn't just leads. Don't focus on just how many leads you can get. Most important, in my opinion, is how much information, how much knowledge, how much education, how much training you can get. Because brand new, and I'm not saying do anything for free in real estate, but I think there's a great value to working either under a broker manager, a mentor, on a team with a seasoned agent, even for a year or 2 years, as long as you're devoted to sucking up as much information, knowledge, processes as possible. Even if you're making a little less than you might make if you went and did it on your own, if you're going to be in this business for a long time, you want to be successful for a long time, the knowledge, the processes, the information, the training is going to be more important than the commission split or the leads. I hope I answered that question. Marcus Fuller, I have an open house coming up. Tips to generate more people to attend an open house. Absolutely, Marcus. There's three of the most important things to have a successful open house. I love open houses. I've held hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of open houses. And one of my most popular classes that I teach, Colleen Cop. Oh, Marcus, I didn't know we were practically neighbors. I'm just up the street from you, up 35E. I'm up in Dallas. So I love open houses, and it's one of my most popular classes. I call it the lost art of open houses. I've been teaching it for over 20 something years. And it's amazing how many agents that come to this class, they don't think open houses will work. They think it's only a way for agents to get leads, that you can never sell the house itself. And all of those things are incorrect, because over 33 and a half years, I have sold that listing many times from an open house. I closed one about 3 weeks ago, small house, $1.45 million from an open house. Last year, I sold 4 of my listings at open houses. I'm not saying I met a buyer or seller at an open house and went and sold them something else. Sold my listings 4 times last year, 1 time already this year. But I talked to all these agents in my open house class, and they say open houses don't work. I've never been successful. And then you know what I ask them, Marcus? I'll ask them a couple of questions. I'll say, let me ask you, how many open house signs did you put up? And 90+% of the time, the answer is 3 or 4. I've heard 2. The real aggressive realtors, they put up 5. Well, here's the thing. I put 10 to 12 open house signs every time I hold an open house. And depending on the neighborhood, the subdivision, and the flow of traffic, I've put 20 plus signs up for an open house before. So if your open houses aren't, not you, Marcus, but if one's open houses aren't successful, I'd say My first question is, how many signs did you put up? Now, here's the other thing. If you look in your multiple listing service, Marcus, and you see all the open houses that are scheduled for this Saturday or this Sunday, you'll see the time is either 12 to 2, 1 to 3, 2 to 4, 3 to 5. What do you notice about all those open houses? 2-hour open houses. I think open houses should be a minimum of 3 hours. And when I was first in the business and I needed paychecks and I was trying to build a business, I held open houses for 4 or 5 hours, Saturday and Sunday. Sometimes they got super crazy, and I would hold an open house from 10 to 1 on Saturday and then go hold a different house open from 2 to 5. So Marcus, I don't know how many hours you're going to do your open house, but I strongly suggest at least 3 hours, preferably 4 or 5. So, number one, tons more signs. Number two, a bunch more hours. Last one is an open house technique that I think will really, really make your open houses significantly more successful. I call it 3 up and 3 down. And this is what it looks like. So, if you're down in Killeen and you're holding an open house this weekend, and let's say it's a $500,000 open house, you might get 15 groups of people to your open house. But the chances that every single one of those groups is looking for exactly that $500,000 house or exactly that square footage or exactly that floor plan is very, very low. Only 2 or 3 groups may be looking for that price range or that square footage, which means 10 or 11 groups that come into your open house are looking for something smaller or they're looking for something bigger. And because you know that before you hold your open house that you're going to be running into people looking for something smaller and something bigger, what I want you to do the Monday or Tuesday before your open house, I want you to go find 3 houses that are more expensive than the one you're holding open and 3 houses that are less expensive than the one you're holding open. I want you to go preview those 6 houses. I want you to learn those 6 houses. I want you to memorize those 6 houses so that this Sunday, when you're holding a house open, and someone walks in, you show them the house, and again, you're holding a $500,000 house open. You show them the house, and then you discover that they're only qualified up to 400. Instead of doing what most realtors do, which is, wow, okay, well, if you give me your name and number, I'll go do some homework and I'll call you back. Which is that's what everyone does. That's what the average realtor does. To me, that's horrible because you have 3 houses less expensive, 3 houses more expensive, and you've previewed the homes, you've memorized the homes. Now, when someone walks in this Sunday to your $500,000 listing and you discover they're only qualified up to 400, instead of asking for their name and number, you're going to say, wow, well, actually, 3 streets down at 1233 Breckenridge Boulevard, there's a home in this neighborhood. It's a little smaller than this one. It's only 2,789 square feet, but they've completely updated the kitchen. It has quartz countertops, it has stainless steel appliances, and they're only asking 415,000. So my open house is over at 4 o'clock. I'm very happy to show you at 4:30 if that's something you might be interested in. See the big difference between trying to get a name and number so that you can call them back and do homework, which is what every single realtor and every single open house has told them or said to them, and every other open house walk-in. Instead, what you're doing is you're creating value right there in front of the person. They didn't know about the house, or if they did know about it, they haven't seen it, and you're offering to create value, you're offering to give a service. So that's going to be, I think, so more signs, more hours, and 3 up, 3 down. Marcus, if you're still watching, I hope that helps. Oh, and Marcus, sorry. So they're building a bunch in Central Texas. So up here in Dallas, they're also building mostly in the northern suburbs, northeast suburbs, and the building pricing, the build job prices, the new home prices are still pretty strong and somewhat going up, but a lot of our resale is sort of stagnant, softer. Is it the same down in Central Texas? I've recently paid for leads from Zillow, suggestions for working those showing leads. That's a great question, Lona. What market are you in? Pennsylvania. Okay, so before COVID, I did a lot of, okay, thank goodness it was one of the 2 or 3 cities in Pennsylvania I probably could have named, um, public education. So, prior to the COVID market, Lona, I did a lot of Zillow leads. I was probably up to close to $50,000 a year in advertising on Zillow. And the good news, at least for me at the time, was the return on those Zillow leads was between two and $300,000. So I was getting about 4 or 5x. But then what Zillow started doing is they started diluting the zip codes, and whereas my $50,000 a year made me 20 to 25% of the zip code, they started selling more shares, selling more. They just started diluting the zip code to where my same $50,000, and I was in more than one zip code, but that same $50,000, instead of 20% of the zip code, was then 18, was 15, for, and it kept going down. And of course, Zillow, in their magnanimous kindness, kept pinging me, hey, we're about to open it up. Do you want to, increase your market share? And really, it wasn't about increasing my market share. It was, do I want my market share to stop decreasing? So at one point, I started getting super pissy with Zillow, and I'm out of Zillow altogether. And this is 7 or 8 years later. I've been doing this 33 years. My referral business is good enough where I don't have to do that. But to finally answer your question, um, a Zillow lead is no different than an open house walk-in lead, is no different than a lead you might get out socially or from a friend. You have to create value for that lead, for that potential home buyer, for that potential home seller, that they can't get with a .com discount broker, Redfin type broker, where they're doing it on salary. So you just have to create a value that most other realtors can't create. With the home buyer, it might, you get mostly home buyer leads, right, Lona? So, okay, so it's mostly buyer leads. So when you get buyer leads, Lona, from Zillow, it's on a specific property, I imagine. Like they want to see. Good morning, Raziel. They get you get an email from Zillow that a buyer wants to see a specific lead. Raziel, I'm going to answer that question soon. I have a couple right in front of you. Hope you'll stay. Okay, so when you call these agents back, I'm sorry, when you call these buyers back, I assume you call, you don't text, correct? Yes, you call. Fantastic. And when you call, obviously, you probably jump on the multiple listing service, you look at the information about that listing, and then you call with information about the listing, correct, Lona? Yes. Okay. This is what I want you to do. And you may do it already. If you do, just interrupt me and say, stop talking, Leonard. I do that, of course. When you call that list, when you get in the multiple listing service, when you get into MLS, you get the Zillow lead. They want information about 1234 Main Street. You go into the multiple listing service, you look up that address, you look up the information about the home. But what I also want you to do is find another home or two in that neighborhood that they called on, roughly the same price, so that when you call the lead, you're not only talking about that home, but you tell them about a couple of others. So start creating value. Zillow is interesting for sure, Raziel. So when you call, I want you to do more than what every other agent they're calling is doing, and that is just giving them information about that specific property. Try to branch out the information you're giving them. Try to create more value than just telling them, because they already see all the photos. They have all the information that we have in the multiple listing service. At the end of the day, they need someone to open the door. You don't want to be a door opener. You want to create value. So figure out more value than just going and opening the door. Does that make sense, Lona? Is that helpful? So RCL, are you still watching? You had a question about a career in real estate. You are. Okay. So real estate is a fantastic career in that every morning a realtor can wake up, I can wake up and decide to give myself a raise. And what I mean by that is we don't have a boss, we don't have set hours. So every morning I can decide door number A, which is go golfing, go spend time with my spouse, my kids, my grandkids, or door number B, I can go do real estate, I can prospect, I can do open houses, I can call my sphere of influence. Number A is very, very fun. I get free time. Behind number two, though, I said A and B. Door number two is income, right? So I know I can wake up, I can prospect all day, and I'm going to meet buyers and sellers. I'm going to make money. There's not a lot of jobs that there are in the world, non-sales jobs where you can wake up and give yourself a raise just by prospecting more. You really control your income for the most part in real estate. Now, I'm a very OCD checklist, T crossing, I dotting, self regulating person, which means that even though I don't have a boss and I don't have set hours, I keep myself on track. I don't get distracted too much, and I can keep my eye on the price. Real estate, just like any sales job, is a very difficult job for people that can't stay on track, that get easily distracted. Because if one gets distracted and one isn't out there prospecting, running into people, buying or selling a home, needing to buy or sell a home, it's hard to make a lot of money. A lot of people get into real estate because they love not having a boss, they love not having set hours. But almost by accident, they start sort of treating it like a hobby. And here's the thing about real estate: if you treat it like a hobby, you're going to get paid like it's a hobby. So I think it's a fantastic business. I've been very fortunate to do this for 33 plus years, but it is a difficult business if one isn't good at self-regulating one's um, time and hours. I hope that helped. Raziel, Redfin sends me listing leads, but they tell them it's 1%. Okay, so Raziel, you pay for leads from Redfin. So Raziel, you're in real estate and you buy leads from Redfin, but they are listing leads. In my market, you can only get leads by working for. Yeah, see, I thought Redfin was mostly just you had to be a Redfin employee to get those leads. Oh, J Time, you had a question. Thoughts on Open Door? So Open Door I'm in Dallas. Open Door was really big, sort of pre-COVID and then during COVID, right? They bought a bunch of homes. They were trying to flip a bunch of homes, but as the market started to soften in Dallas, Open Door, I think, might have lost their fanny on a lot of homes because they were buying at peak COVID market prices, and now we're long gone from the COVID market. And I don't see as many Open Door properties at all. So in my market, Open Door isn't doing much business. They were doing a ton of business up until probably 3 years ago, but again, I think they lost their fanny a bunch. Good morning, Steffi. Christian Realtor, what do I mean? So right now, I have however many listings, however many escrows, and right now I can either do nothing today, right? I can do nothing today, my escrows will close, or I can choose to spend 2 hours calling my sphere of influence, talking about, let's say, for instance, we just recently got all the you got your notice in the mail about your new tax assessed value, and if you want to protest your taxes, now's the time to do it. So I can give myself a raise today by calling 30, 40 people on my sphere of influence and saying, hey, hope you're doing well. Wanted to let you know that you probably got I know you got your tax protest in the mail recently. And if you want to protest your tax assessed value, I'm very happy to help. I'm happy to send you any paperwork, any market analysis. Just let me know. So I know if I call 30 people in my sphere of influence today and talk about that, there's a very good chance that they may talk about someone thinking of buying or selling, someone at their office, one of their friends, and I might get a listing lead, I might get a buyer lead. But I can choose this morning when I woke up, I can choose to go golfing today. It's a little muggy here in Dallas, but I can choose to go golfing. I can go see a movie with my bride. I can go to Arkansas and see my grandkids, or I can give myself a raise and make more money than what I currently have in escrow and go do the activities in real estate I know will lead and generate income. So that's the neat thing about real estate. Every morning you can decide to stay unemployed or give yourself a raise. And in my opinion, that's what you're doing. You're either staying unemployed or you're giving yourself a raise. Oh, well, thank you, Christian. What market are you in, Christian? Carol, oh, you're a newly licensed broker. Market is picking up. Oh, I'm so glad the market's picking up in Houston, and you're a newly licensed broker, but I assume you've been in the business for a while and just got your broker's license. Engineer. So I think engineer, I just finished my course. I still got to take the exam. I'm in. Got it. Oh, okay. SoCal. We've had a lot of SoCal people, but well, I love that your name is already your realtor is already in your username, and you haven't. I like you're putting it out there in the universe that you're going to pass. You're going to be very successful. Los Angeles. I'm originally from California, up in the Bay Area, but real estate in California is very different than real estate here in Texas. I'm in Dallas. Well, I've got a couple of Texas peeps here. Shout out. And you're in Austin, 8 years in the business, and now you got your broker's license, Carolyn. Are you going to try to create a brokerage, or you just got your broker's license so that you can put that sort of on the business card? Planning to make videos. Oh, excellent. Don't take it from me. I just started. I'm a grandfather, for goodness sake. So I just started doing videos about 6 or 7 weeks ago, and my videos are going to be very different. Good morning, Alma. Is going to be very different than the videos you put. You're going to put videos up, hopefully, to try to find people needing your buying and selling services. I've been doing this for over 33 years. I've helped close to 1,500 families buy, sell, lease, and invest in real estate. And I've been training agents for over 2 decades. I love giving back to the community. I've been teaching classes for decades. And so I just started dipping my toe in the social media pool about just under 2 months ago. And so I have no idea what I'm doing here. And I'm just starting to go live more regularly. And I love helping agents be more successful. So if you're watching today, I hope you follow my TikTok channel. If you want to watch longer form videos over on YouTube or Instagram, there's a link tree in my TikTok bio. Forming a brokerage now, recruiting agents. Well, fantastic. I hope you're going to tell all your new agents about my channel. I have a lot of videos that are designed to help agents be more successful, especially if they're new in the business. Ashley, thank you so much for sharing the live. I really appreciate that. Are you in real estate, Ashley? Alma, are any tips on shopping for home insurance? I have a closing coming in June and I'm clueless. Alma, are you in real estate or are you just a home buyer looking to buy? And either way, tell me what city you're in. Home buyer in Hesperia, California. Okay, so I don't know how it is in California. Here in Texas, insurance has gotten a little crazy. Texas has thunderstorms, we have hail, we have lots of roof issues. And so getting insurance in Texas has gotten a lot tougher. I don't know how it is in California. I'm really, really, really sorry. I would say definitely ask your real estate agent, get advice from them. I don't know the right answer. Quack is in San Jose. Alma, if you do have an agent, don't call Quack. If you don't have an agent, Quack is a great resource in California. Okay, if you're in real estate, and thanks Quack for liking the live. If you're in real estate and you're watching right now, tell me what you do when you talk to a buyer for the first time. Either you met someone at an open house. Open houses make up 70% of my business. Oh, that's fantastic. And Andrew, tell me what market you're in again. Maryland, Baltimore, just outside DC. Okay, so pretty dense population out there. So I imagine subdivisions, neighborhoods, lots of houses. How long have you been in the business, Andrew? And so, Andrew, if you're still on, how many hours is your open house this weekend? Is it Saturday and Sunday? And on average, how many signs are you putting up? Sunday, 11 to 2, and depends on the development. Love it. So, Andrew, I don't know if you've watched the live before. If you have, I apologize. If I've forgotten, I'm old. It happens, 53 years old. But I love that you're doing at least 3 hours. Most realtors only do 2-hour open houses. And I think most realtors that no one watching, you don't have to start yelling at me in the comments, but I think if an agent is only doing good morning, Caleb. I think if a real estate agent's only doing a 2-hour open house, then the chances are they probably don't even want to be there. They're probably doing it because they haven't done anything else marketing wise. They're probably doing it because the seller called 4 or 5 days before and said, hey, we've been on the market for 3 or 4 weeks. Why is my house not selling? What are you doing to market it? At which point the agent says, oh goodness, I was just about to call you and ask if you wanted to do an open house. I know this because I've taught a class on open houses. It's my most popular class for over 25 years. And the agents that come to my classes, I'll ask them a bunch of questions about why they think their open houses aren't successful. And they're pretty honest with me. It's pretty funny because I have a PowerPoint, I do most of the talking, but there's cues on the PowerPoint, and I'll put up on the PowerPoint, why do most agents hold open houses? And I'll ask the people in the room, why do you hold out open houses? And they're very honest about it. I'm shockingly honest. I held this class the week before last, and several of the agents say, because the seller wanted me to. I really didn't want to, but we've been on the market a while, and in my market in Dallas, houses are staying on the market much longer, and they don't want to. And so I know they don't want to because they're only holding it open for 2 hours. So I love the fact you're holding it open at least 3. And then the other reason, the other way I know if an agent doesn't really want to be holding their house open or holding an open house at all is they only put 3 or 4 signs up, one in front of the house and then maybe one on either side of the street. So the fact that you put at least 10 up is absolutely fantastic, because generally I'll put 10 to 12, and if it's a very busy development, it's 15 to 20 open house signs, and I'm going to be there 3 or 4 hours. And when I first got in the business, I was there 5 or 6 hours talking to people, reading. I've gotten better at then follow up. Okay, Andrew, here's so the struggle for you is meeting people at the open house. So you're good at setting up the open house. You get the lots of signs, you stay a bunch of hours, but then you're having trouble connecting when you get... Riley, how are you? Good morning. Thanks for joining again. Good to see you. So your struggle is at the open house connecting with people, Andrew? Well up. Okay. So when you're at the open house now, hi Black Car, hey, teeth whitening, hi everybody. So when you're at your open house now, Andrew, couple of questions. First of all, what value do you bring? What do you say to the people that walk in? You show them the house. I hope the first thing you're trying to do is sell that house. Good morning, Shorty. I hope the first thing you're trying to do is always sell that house to the person, because I promise you, whether it's your listing or not, the seller of the home you're holding open, they cleaned up the house the day before. They vacuumed each room as they walked backwards out of the room, and they left for 3 or 4 or 5 hours with their kids and their pets. They are expecting the person there at the open house to try to sell that house. So obviously, number one, I hope you're trying to sell the house. But we already know that if you get 15 groups of people through your open house, not all 15 groups are looking for that size home, that price home, that floor plan, that whatever, which means there's a lot of people coming into open houses that aren't going to want to buy that home. So then it's a matter, good morning, Crystal. Then it's a matter of what are we going to do with those people that we decide aren't interested in that home. They're either not qualified to pay that much or they're looking for something much bigger. So what value, Andrew, are you bringing the people that come to your open houses once you've figured out that that home isn't going to work for them? Because you're saying you struggle with the connection between, okay, this house isn't right for them, what's the next step? So tell me what you're doing now so that we can try to figure out how to create a better connection between you and the people that are coming into your open house. Because I love open houses. I've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of open houses over my 33 plus year career. And I like connecting with the people. And I'm actually, believe it or not, despite all my live videos and videos that I've done, I'm an introvert. I like my small handful group of people, my family, my friends, and past that, I'm sort of an introvert. But when I'm at the open house, I tend not to have too much trouble connecting, but we're going to talk about that. So Andrew, I hope you're still there, and I hope you're typing what you do now to connect with people. And anyone else just joining us, thank you so much. My name is Leonard Thomas. I've been selling homes for over 33 years. I've helped close to 1,500 families buy, sell, lease, and invest in real estate, and I've been training agents for almost that long. My real estate channel is not about finding more buyers and sellers for myself. It's about helping other agents be more successful. So if you're joining us this morning and you're in real estate, thank you so much. Put your question down in the comments. I hope you'll follow my TikTok or my YouTube or my Instagram. I try to put out 1 or 2 videos every day to help agents be more successful. So before I start listening to you, I would wait till after I meet them to send them information. Now I'm going to do what you suggested. Oh, I love that. Okay. So Andrew, did you already see the 3 up, 3 down? Did you see me go through that, or did you watch a video on that? Tell me what you have printed out, Andrew. I may have missed what you said. 20%. Okay, so the 3 up, 3 down. So you got that. So you're going to print it out. You're going to go. So Andrew, you printed out the MLS printouts for the 3 up and the 3 down, which I love. You're going to go preview all 6 homes. Hi, Koki. Thanks for joining. You're going to go preview all 6 homes. You're going to really learn the homes. You're going to memorize the price, the square footage, the year built, and maybe one feature or benefit of each. So then this Saturday or Sunday, which day it is, because I hope you're going to ping back on the live and tell us how it went. So then when people walk into your open house this weekend, first things first, you're going to try to sell them that house. You're going to point out the features and benefits of the home you're at. Good morning, Pinch of Glam. Oh, and thanks for following, Pinch. I really appreciate that. You're going to try to sell them the house, but if it turns out that home isn't right for the people, if the floor plan doesn't work, if they're looking for something bigger, if they're looking for something smaller, then you're going to say, you're going to go into your 3 up and 3 down. And it's going to be such a better connection, Andrew, because you're creating value. Remember, most of the people that come into your open house didn't leave their home, get in their car, drive over to your open house just to see the home, to get back in their car, to go right back to their house. Most people, especially as we get towards the end of the school year and we get closer to summer, most people are going to many open houses, and every open house they're going to, the average realtor, the majority of the realtors they're going to run into at open houses, what are they going to do? The people are going to walk into the open house, and most realtors holding open houses are going to say what? We got a bunch of people watching today. What are they going to say? They're going to say, please sign in for the safety of me and the sellers. They've asked me to have everyone sign in. You're going to get a bunch of names. You're not creating any value. You're asking people to give you an email address, a cell phone number that they know they're going to start getting text messages. They're going to start getting emails, and they didn't ask for any of that. So you're going to do something different. You're going to show them the house. You're going to try to sell them the house. And if it turns out that's not the house they're looking for, you're going to tell them about the 3 up and the 3 down. You're going to start creating value. You're going to see that is going to start creating a relationship because you're doing something no other realtor is doing. Hey, Carlos, thanks so much for joining. So I want to know how that works, Andrew, and then we're going to do the next step of that. Anyone watching? A bunch of people now. Thank you so much. I hope if you're in real estate and you're watching today, I hope you follow me on TikTok. My channel is all about helping agents try to be more successful, learn from the mistakes I've made. Jennifer asks, how do you present lower offers? 549 offer, 500 no concessions. Jennifer, what market are you in? Arizona. Okay, so you're a realtor, I imagine. So the list price is 549. You represent a buyer that wants to offer 500, correct? Oh, you're not a realtor yet. Okay, but did I get your hypothetical correct? You are, good morning, Logic. Also, oh, you're looking to buy. Okay, so I want to answer your question, but tell me the hypothetical so I get it right. So we're talking about if you are a realtor and there is a home. Oh no, you're saying for yourself. Are you saying for yourself? There's a $550,000 house and you personally want to offer 500? Yes, but also to present if I were an agent. Okay. If you're a real estate agent and let's say you are representing a buyer and there's a $550,000 listing that you've shown your client and they want to offer $500,000, and the question is how to present it. It depends, first of all, if you do a market analysis, good morning, Lo. If you do a market analysis and the home is priced roughly correctly, if it's worth roughly $550,000 and you're coming in at $500,000, what I would do is when I sent the offer over to the agent, I would put this in an email. I wouldn't put it in a text. I wouldn't call the agent and tell them this. And if you want to know why, tell me why in the comments below. But I would put in the email, hey, agent name, please find my offer, an offer attached for my client and a pre-approval letter. And then in the next paragraph, I would say, unfortunately, we're not coming in at list price, and though the market analysis shows that the value is much closer to the list price, this is all my clients are comfortable asking. They understand that the seller may be able to get more from another buyer, but they at least wanted to send this offer over. They love the home. They love this about the home, but this is their comfort level financially. Does that make sense? So I try to soften the blow in the email, in the presentation, by acknowledging that the buyers understand the sellers can probably get more, but depending on how long the listing's been on the market, for one reason or another, they haven't gotten more. So I do try to soften the blow via email. Okay, tell me why. Why do I put this in an email instead of calling the agent or putting it in a text? What I have discovered after doing this for 33 plus years is a lot of time, instead of, and my emails, most of my negotiation is via email because I put the reason for whatever reason the buyer or seller is doing what they're doing, either offering or counter offering. I put the narrative for why they're doing that in the email. And what I've discovered over the years is a lot of realtors, not all realtors, but a lot of realtors don't want to try to summarize all the reasons my client is doing what they're doing, is offering what they're offering, is countering why they're countering. So what do a lot of agents do? They simply forward my email to their client. So if I'm representing a buyer and I put in a long explanation as to why my client is offering a certain amount,
and I put that in an email. What a lot of listing agents do is simply forward it to their client and said, here's the explanation why the buyers are offering what they're offering. And I love that, because then my words in the email are going unfiltered, untranslated directly to the seller. And that's what I want. So to answer your question, why do I do a lot of my negotiation via email instead of calling the agent? I'm not saying don't call the agent. I'm not saying I'll never get on the phone with the agent, but to represent my buyer better, or to represent my seller better, a lot of my negotiation is via email, because I know a lot of agents will simply forward that email to the other client. And I want the narrative for my client to get to the other person, which is almost always going to help my client. Andrew, well, I really, really appreciate that. I have you as a note. I appreciate that very, very much, Andrew. It actually means the world. I love giving back to the real estate community. I love talking to agents. I love training agents. That's why I've been doing it for decades. Believe me, it's not about income, not about getting paid. It's about trying to help other people become more successful. Definitely to help other agents learn from all the mistakes I've made doing this for 33 plus years. Let's see. So thank you so much, Andrew. And thank you everyone watching. A couple of you followed me on TikTok. Thank you so much if you did that. Nita, do I have an email template to send to clients to update them on the process next steps? So Nita, do you mean when you're in escrow representing a buyer, in escrow representing a seller, or are you in escrow with anybody? Tell me what you mean. Thanks for liking the live, Andrew. Thank you very much. Buyer representative when you're under contract. I have checklists. I don't really have email templates too much. I try to personalize most of that. So I have checklists, but no real email templates. But Oklahoma and Texas are going to be a little different. So Nita, what you want to do up in Oklahoma though, and it's really, really easy, either get with your broker manager or get with a team lead, or just through the business you've already done, do a checklist for yourself. Down here in Texas, if I'm representing a buyer and we get a contract, we get something in escrow, step one, my checklists have checklists, and I did a video on this. If you're watching and you're in real estate, I hope you'll watch, but I'm OCD. I'm very left brain. I was born without a right hemisphere in my brain. I have no creativity. I have no vision, but this left hemisphere that controls spreadsheets and T crossing and I dotting and math, it is strong in this one. So my checklists have checklists. So I definitely have a checklist so that when my buyer goes under contract, it is create a folder in Dropbox, save the tax roll to Dropbox, save the MLS printout to Dropbox, save the executed contract to Dropbox, send the executed contract to the title company, send the executed contract to the other. The checklist has checklist, and then each item in my checklist has a breakdown in steps. So my checklists are broken down, I kid you not, so granular that an 8-year-old that is computer savvy should be able to do almost everything on my checklist. I have links to go to certain places. I just have everything on my checklist. And it certainly helps anyone watching in real estate when your business gets busy enough to have an assistant. The fact that I have a checklist for everything, it just gets the learning curve faster when I have an assistant. It keeps me from making mistakes. It keeps things from falling between the cracks, because the more business you have, the more you're going to want not an automated process, but a system to not make mistakes, a system to make sure things get done. So checklist, Nita, is my answer. Riley, you got MLS access, the curtain. So you've gotten behind the curtain, Riley. You have MLS access and you've been clicking all morning. How exciting is that? Good morning, Caleb. Oh, thank you so much for sharing the live. That's awesome. Caleb, are you in real estate? And if so, where? Nita, how can we get the checklist? You can't have my checklist, Nita. And besides, you're in Oklahoma. I'm in Texas. Different checklist. Any second now, someone from Texas watching is going to say, I'm in Texas, send me the checklist. Nita, make a checklist. Yes, it's official. Let's go, Riley. What now? Okay. You're not holding open houses this weekend because, no, it's not like that, Nita. Nita, Come on, it's not like that. Riley, I know you have family in town this weekend, so you're not doing open houses. I'm a little pissy about it, but still sending Minnesota love. But next weekend, and you, Nita, thank you. You're obviously not holding a grudge. You just like the life. Thank you. So Riley, I know you're not holding an open house this week. I mean, I feel like you should be able to sneak an open house in, but I'm not going to badger you about it. But next week. Jara, the other thing you were looking at is investing in Section 8 homes in the Midwest and Southeast. So every market's going to be April. Darn it. Oh, hello, April. You're in Texas. Where in Texas are you? We have a friend in South Texas watching. We had someone, Juan's down in South Texas. Where's my friend? We had someone from Waco. I'm up in Dallas. Good morning, Teresa. Where in Texas are you? And April, if you're just thinking about getting your license, I hope you'll follow the channel. I have a ton of videos that I've put over the last 6 or 7 weeks that are, I hope, are a little bit helpful for people just getting their agents, just getting their license. You're in Austin, fantastic, and you're taking your classes. Well, Austin real estate has definitely gone through a change the last 4 or 5 years. They, just like Dallas, the COVID market did really well by Austin. Your prices skyrocketed. And then just like Dallas, the last 12, 24 months, it's definitely, good morning, Teresa, has definitely softened. And in fact, thanks for following, April. I really appreciate that. And anyone watching, if in my link tree on my TikTok bio, there's a newsletter if you want to join the newsletter, only once a week. I promise not to spam. Austin, as I heard from a bunch of my Austin realtor friends, has really softened a bunch price-wise, market-wise, more so than even Dallas. I think it's because your market probably got even crazier during COVID than Dallas did, and now it's softening even more than Dallas. Good morning, Lisa. Thanks for joining. Pinch is in San Diego preparing for license. All right. Well, it's fantastic that my live is getting to realtors that or is getting to people that aren't licensed yet or going to get licensed. Fantastic. It's a fantastic business. A lot of my videos are what I think common sense for realtors, but what I have found in the hundreds of classes that I've taught, it isn't very commonsensical, despite them being, to me, very commonsensical. So Pinch of Glam, do you have any questions for me? Oh, Luke asked, Luke, are you still watching? Your question was, what would I do differently if I was starting out in real estate? Are you still watching, Luke? And if you're not, does anyone else want to know? Oh my gosh, Luke, I messed up big. Thanks, Pinch. Thanks for watching. So Luke, I messed up big. So I'm old, lots of gray hair, right? And I'm 53 years old. I got in the business. I was just 21 years old, maybe 20 years old. And my first listing that I took, Luke, 33 years ago was $27,500. And back when I got into real estate, there were a lot of things called, you've probably heard of FHA loans before, Luke, but back when I got into real estate, there was something called non-qualifying assumable FHA loans, NQA. And what that meant was, let's say there was a $30,000 house and it had a $28,000 loan on it, which means there's $2,000 of equity, right? Back when I first got into real estate, a lot of loans on a lot of houses, on a lot of my listings, had non-qualifying assumable loans, which meant, like, for example, that first listing I took, that was $27,500. It was a non-qualifying assumable, and there was probably only $2,000 or $3,000 of equity, which means my commission, roughly 3%, let's say it was almost $1,000, $3,000 equity. Back then, I could have bought my first, well, shoot, no, I'm lying to you, because if I bought it myself, it would have been 6%, $30,000. So it would have been almost a $2,000 commission, $3,000 equity. So for $1,000 out of my pocket, I didn't even need to qualify for the loan because it was non-qualifying assumable. All you had to do was pay the seller the equity they had and you take over payments of their loan. I could have bought every listing I took my first year. I could have probably bought for several $1,000s, every single listing. And instead, I was really excited just to go get the $2,000 or $3,000 commission because I was 21 years old. $2,000 or $3,000, I was a millionaire compared to my friends. That was a lot of money each time because all the listings back then were 20, 30, 40, 50. If I got a $100,000 listing, holy smokes, I was, put me in a magazine. This is 33 years ago in Dallas, Texas. It's not like in California where 30 years ago it was still several $100,000. $100,000 house 33 years ago in Dallas was a humongous house. So the biggest mistake I made 33 years ago was not being smart enough or mature enough. Again, I was 21. What do you expect? To literally try to buy every house that I listed, because it would not have taken long to have a portfolio of 20, 30 houses. Again, with so minimal investment, I could have just turned over my commission into the down payment. It would have been fantastic. So that was the biggest mistake that I probably made. Brand new agent in Virginia, waiting for your license to be approved. Well, fantastic. Welcome to the business. So tell me where you are so you're waiting for your license to be approved. So you've taken the test, you've passed the test. Have you already picked a brokerage? Good morning, Keith. Thanks for joining. April, would I recommend? Oh, definitely start interviewing now. Don't wait for that, because you can, depending on the brokerage you choose, April, you could start working at the brokerage, not doing real estate activities, but you can start going to training sessions. You can start learning from the broker. If there's a mentorship program, you can start doing classes. You'll start getting invited to title company and escrow seminars. Definitely go interview brokerages now. You don't need your license to go start interviewing, because when you get your license, you want to hit the ground running, April. I've picked a team and I've been waiting for a month now for my license to be approved through, I assume that's Delaware Department something of real estate. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Welcome to the business, Alex. If you have any questions about real estate, I'd love to be able to answer it. Edgar, thoughts on closing gift, on how much to spend? I'm a big fan of closing gifts, Edgar. I know that my accountant says don't spend more than $25 because that's all that's deductible. To me, it's not about a deduction. It's not about math. It's about the relationship. So I'm a big fan of closing gifts on either side, and it really depends on the price range. It's not uncommon for me to spend several $100s. You've been shadowing a network. That's awesome. Shadow, network, but Alex, what I want you to do, and it's going to sound very, very cliche, but please hear me out. Learn. You memorize a bunch of information to pass the test. At least in Texas and California, where I've been licensed and have a broker's license, 90% of what you have to memorize to pass the test, you never use in your career. You don't need to know how many, sections in a township, how many acres in a hectare, how many members on the appraisal review board. I mean, gag me, right? So you memorize a bunch of information to pass the test, mostly forget everything you learn, but then I want you to do, as shadowing and networking is important, but keep learning, Alex. Start learning the listing agreement, start learning the purchase contract, start learning about, I'm sorry, I forgot what market. Did you say Virginia? Delaware. Start learning about foundations, the different types of foundations. Do you have pier and beam and slab up there? Learn about the different types of roofs. Roofs, the different type of roof structures. Learn about the different styles and architectures, because I imagine you have a bunch of different architecture styles out there. Start learning about inspection reports. Ask your mentor, your broker at the office, hey, can I have 5 or 6, 7 inspection reports? I want to start reading over them. I want to start learning about the format in Delaware of the inspection report. So I've been doing this for 33 plus years, and when I get a 100-page inspection report, I mean, it is 99 times out of 100, I can tell my client within a couple of $100s how much to fix each item on that 100 pages, because I have so studied the inspection report. And yes, I understand legal issue, and we can discuss that. I'm sort of paraphrasing, but I want you to learn everything you can. Don't wait, especially the listing agreement, especially the purchase contract. I did a video about 2 weeks ago, and I got a whole bunch of realtors mad at me. I was going to say generally they don't get mad at me. My videos generally don't get negative pushback, almost never. But this one was like the first, maybe the only video that I did where a lot of realtors got in my comments and they were angry. And it was this. And it might be one of my pinned videos. It is one of my pinned videos on Facebook. If you don't follow me and you're watching, I hope you do. I said realtors, before they even leave the real estate office, should be able to do three things. One, explain the listing agreement to a home seller without looking at it. Two, explain the purchase contract to the buyer or the seller without looking at it. Three, I think agents should be able to calculate the principal and interest portion of a mortgage payment, or they shouldn't leave the office. And oh my goodness, of the things that I say that I think will upset other realtors, I didn't know that was going to be one of them. So a whole bunch of people got in my comments, and a whole bunch of realtors, seasoned agents, and they were very upset that I said agents should know how to calculate a mortgage principal and interest portion of a mortgage payment. But I will tell you, in my career, there have been, and not exaggerating, hundreds of times that it has created value for my home buyers and my home sellers to be able to calculate a principal and interest portion. And if you're watching and in real estate and you want to know some of the ways that I think being able to calculate a principal and interest portion are important, and if you want to know a couple of ways that I think you can create value for your home buying and home selling clients, if you want to know how I think you can use a financial calculator to do that, type "show me calculator" in the comments. Otherwise, I won't bore you. How do I tap into the luxury market as a young agent? Luke, tell me again what market you are, what market you're in. Good morning, Angelica. Alex wants to see the Pittsburgh. I'm sorry, Luke, I'm old and things are going quickly and I'm only one cup of coffee into the day. Okay, Alex, don't let me forget calculator. Pittsburgh, so luxury market. So, a couple of things you're going to want to do to break into it. First of all, Luke, you have to know the market. You need to know the luxury market. So as a new agent, I think you said you're already with a team, you're already with a mentor, you're with a brokerage. I assume that brokerage has luxury listings. So one of the things you can do as a new agent, because you don't have enough escrows, you don't have enough experience selling these homes, you need to overwhelm them with market knowledge. I don't know what luxury means in your market, if that's million to 5 million, if luxury, and I'm not trying to offend, in my market, every suburb in Dallas is going to be a little different, but whatever luxury means in your market, go preview every luxury property, go to every luxury property open house, and don't just walk around the house, study the house, get used to, I don't know if you do dollar per square foot in your market, like in California, it's a little different. In Dallas, it's all dollar per square foot for the most part, but you need to preview every single house you can. You need to have massive market knowledge, and then you need to have massive contract knowledge. You need to know the listing inside and out. You need to know the contract to purchase inside and out, because luxury means expensive, means people that have probably bought and sold before. So you don't want to stutter when you're explaining the purchase contract. So you, as a new agent, you can do this. You can have massive market knowledge because you're going to go preview 10 houses a day if you can, and you're going to have massive contract knowledge. And then it's a matter of running into these people that are buying and selling in the luxury market. And the way you run into these people as a new agent is to hold open houses for luxury listings. I know you're probably not going to have any luxury listings day one, so I hope you're at a brokerage that has luxury listings. And if you can find a vacant luxury listing and you're new in the business, you hold it open from 10 a.m. to 5 or 6 p.m. on Saturday, and then you hold it open again Sunday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. You put 20 to 30 signs out, and you hold it open. And that is, if I was new in the business and I was trying to tap into the luxury market, that's what I would do. Massive market knowledge, preview every single luxury listing you can, learn them, memorize them, contract knowledge, and then find a vacant luxury listing at your brokerage and hold it open for 12, 16 hours in the weekend. Alex, Totally agree. Okay, calculator. So, what are the ways that a financial calculator can help you create value for home buyers and home sellers? How about this? So, again, the agents were so mad. I wasn't saying that a realtor should pre-qualify their own buyers, and I wasn't saying that a realtor should tell their buyer what their total monthly payment would be, because I understand total monthly payment is principal, interest, taxes, insurance, HOA if you have it, Mello-Roos if you have it, flood insurance if you have it. I understand that you may not want to get caught up in all those PMI, MIP, VA funding fee if it's a VA loan. So I'm not saying you should go on record telling your buyer what your total monthly payment could be, although there's no fantastic magic to doing it, but so be it. But I'm saying this, let's say you represent a buyer that they've already spoken to a lender, maybe they've spoken to your preferred lender, and they've done a cost fee worksheet, and based on the income and debt of your buyer client, they're qualified up to $500,000 at 7% interest, and whatever the interest rate is doesn't matter for my explanation. So let's say they've already talked to a lender, they can afford $500,000, and let's say based on the cost fee, they've already talked to a lender, they can afford $500,000, and let's say based on the cost fee worksheet of the lender that their total payment that the lender came up with, not you, is $2,500 a month. 500,000, 7% interest, $2,500 a month. And let's say you're talking to your buyer and they say, okay, if rate, I saw today that rates went down. If rates go down to 6.5%, how does that change my monthly payment? Now, I think as a realtor, you should be able to tell them the answer. And spoiler alert, you can on a financial calculator, or I understand it's 2025. If you have a financial calculator app on your iPhone, if you don't, send me a DM and I'll tell you which one I use. It's fantastic. There's probably a lot out there, but I'll tell you which one I use. Inside of 5 seconds, do you want to see? No, I can't because I'm using my phone. Inside of 5 seconds, I can answer the question, if my rate goes from 7 to 6.5, how much will my payment go down? It's not magic. It doesn't take a lender to tell them the answer because they already know what their total payment is, because the lender told them at 7%, the total payment is $2,500. And then in your financial calculator app, all you have to do is change 7 to 6.5, and it'll tell you how much the payment goes down, and that's how much their payment goes down. So super, super, super easy. And there's like 19 other scenarios where doing the same math on your calculator, you don't have to go through a lender. You can go through a lender, but I think it's ridiculous. So how do lenders make profits when they borrow money from the bank? Lenders can make profits two ways. They sell the loan to someone else, and they make some money, and they make some money on the difference between the interest rate they charged you and what they sell it at. And of course, they make a little bit of money in fees. Leonard Live, indeed. Who do I ask permission from to make videos of homes on the market? They are not my listing. Nita, definitely ask the listing agent. You'll find that a lot of agents are very happy to get the extra exposure. And Brian, thank you so much for liking the live. What do you suggest bringing to Lona? Great question. So I love open houses. I've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of open. Stop it, Brian. They're going to think that you're one of my clients. So what do you bring to an open house? Great question. So you definitely want to bring extra brochures. You want to bring business cards. I bring something that I call a client search criteria card. It's what I use. Once I've met with someone, this is what I use to put their information on. In fact, anyone watching now, if you follow me and subscribe to my newsletter today, I will send you my client search criteria card. I also bring information about 3 homes less expensive than that one, 3 homes that are more expensive than that one, and I study that, waiting for people to walk in so that when they walk into my open house, if they're looking in that area but for something less expensive, I already remember 2 or 3 houses that I can talk about successfully. Obviously, directly. I bring a financial calculator app on my iPhone. What else do I bring? That's it. That's it. I bring an attitude where I'm ready to create value for everyone that walks in the home. How do you negotiate commissions and closing cost? Alex, if I represent the buyer, the seller, myself. So if you're representing the buyer, how do you negotiate commissions and closing costs? Well, in my market, since we can no longer advertise the buyer's agent commission on the multiple listing service, the first thing that we do is we text the listing agent. We say, is the seller offer? So there's two options here in Texas, maybe where you are too. The seller can pay the buyer agent directly, or the seller can pay the listing broker who then pays the buyer broker. So it's really sort of convoluted right now. But if you're representing the buyer, you have a buyer representation agreement. In the buyer representation agreement, you and the buyer have already decided what you're going to get paid to represent them in the purchase of the contract. Let's pretend in your buyer representation agreement, you've put in there that you get 3%. Hey, Dreamy, good to see you again. Oh, thanks for sharing the live. Very kind of you. So in your buyer rep agreement, you've put, let's pretend that in your buyer rep agreement, it says that you're going to get 3% when they buy a house from you. But in Texas buyer rep agreements, it says we're first going to go try to get that commission from the seller, the listing broker, or the builder. And if not, then of course the buyer pays it. So with my buyer clients, I never want them to pay me directly. So depending, whatever the seller or the listing brokerage is not paying in commission, then we roll the extra amount into the offer we make. So if the seller's offering 2.5% and my buyer representation agreement says I get paid 3%, in the offer we present, we put that the seller is going to give the buyer an extra 0.5%, which then pays my buyer agent commission. Did that make sense? Apple user, can I ask my agent to only make offers on homes where sellers pay buyer's commission? Absolutely. So the question was, Apple user is a buyer, and the question was, can I ask my agent to only show me homes where the seller's paying the buyer's commission? Yes. And this is why I think that lawsuit last year probably didn't accomplish all the things everyone that was involved in the lawsuit thought it was going to accomplish. So let's say a buyer gets into a buyer representation agreement with an agent where the agent is going to get paid, making a number up, I'll pick a number out of thin air, 3%. So what that buyer representation agreement says that if the buyer buys a house, and no matter what, their agent, the buyer's agent's going to get 3%. Well, prior to the lawsuit, the seller would often offer to pay the buyer commission, usually 3%. But now a lot of sellers aren't paying a buyer's commission, which means that the buyer is obligated to pay the commission they agreed to pay in the buyer representation agreement. Oh, Chalice, welcome back. So a lot of buyers that are in a buyer representation agreement that says the buyer is going to pay the buyer's agent some percentage, let's say 3 in our example, a lot of those buyers are telling their agents, hey, I don't want to pay you 3%. So if the listing that I want to see doesn't have an arrangement to where you, the buyer's agent, gets the full 3%, I don't even want to know about the house, because if I like it and I want to put an offer on it and they're not offering a commission, I, the buyer, have to pay you, my buyer's agent, and I don't have the money, and or B, I don't want to do that. So absolutely, buyers have the right to tell their agent, if they have a buyer rep agreement where the buyer's paying the agent a certain percentage, buyers absolutely have the right to say, don't show me the houses if I have to pay you a commission. And that's why I think that whole lawsuit changed a bunch of things that probably are not super helpful. Carlos says, how do I do listings? ask me a more specific question, how do I do them? Once I get them, what do I do with them? Or how do I find them? Sorry, how do you find them? Carlos, are you a realtor? And if so, what market? I've been doing this for over 33 years. I've helped close to 1,500 families buy, sell, lease, and invest in real estate. So I'm at the point in my career, Carlos, where fortunately they sort of find me. We still do a bunch of open houses. We do meet a lot of people thinking of buying or selling a home through open houses. But for the most part, I'm fortunate enough to where they find me. If I was new 5 years in Rhode Island, fantastic. So I think an absolutely fantastic way for any agent, whether seasoned or new in the business, to find people thinking of buying or selling a home is open houses. I'm a big fan of open houses. I think open houses have to be done correctly to be successful, and I've talked enough about it on this slide, but I have a lot of videos on how to do open houses, in my opinion, successfully or better. But I say that's number one. The market is changing. I don't know what it is in Rhode Island, but here in Dallas, where I am, before COVID, expired listings, canceled listings, people trying to sell their home by themselves, it was a pretty robust market for those. Then during COVID, of course, there was no such thing as an expired listing. There was no such thing as a canceled listing. We didn't have open houses, didn't need open houses. There were no such things as price reductions. But now, 2 or 3 years removed from the COVID market, we're starting to have canceled listings again. We're starting to have expired listings again. And we're starting to have a lot of people selling their home by themselves. So I would say another great way for agents to meet people needing home selling services are canceled, expired, and for sale by owners. That if I sign with my buyer's agent for 2.5% commission and the seller's offering 3% commission, can I ask for a rebate? That's between you and your agent. I can't step on those toes. A buyer and their agent can negotiate and come to any agreement they want. Carlos, I used to cold call, but it doesn't really work for me. Well, it doesn't work for you yet. Who were you cold calling and what were you saying, Carlos? Danette, thanks so much for following. Good morning, Richard. And thanks for everyone. If I missed the notification that you followed me on TikTok, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. If someone says they have to work on their credit, do you recommend them to a lender to help? Absolutely. Well, it's not so much, sometimes it's the lender, but the lender will then refer them to someone to help with the credit. The lender generally doesn't, Apple user, you're a buyer, not a realtor, and you follow it. I appreciate you so much. There are some videos that might help people thinking of buying or selling though. So you can get them with a credit repair specialist. And if you don't know a credit repair specialist, ask someone in your office. And if you don't know someone in your office with a credit repair specialist, you can definitely ask a lender. Each lender generally knows a credit repair specialist. Carlos, circle prospecting. Understand, but when you're cold calling, what are you calling about? Get me a little closer to what you were doing so we can figure out why it wasn't more successful for you. How long after do you follow up with them? Now, Nita, you've been to some of my lives before. You know we don't follow up. What do we do, Nita? It's one of my pinned videos. We don't follow up. What do we do? Good morning, Kaylee. I hope I pronounced. Good morning, Miss O'Sullivan. Thanks for joining. Just listed and just sold. Okay, so Carlos, is it your just listed or just sold listing, or is it just someone's in your office, or is it just any rando? Nita, you're not off the hook. We don't follow up, we follow through, and there's a big difference. After I talk with Carlos, I'm going to get back with it. Random listings. Okay, so Carlos, there's a random sold in the area, and then you cold call neighbors around them. Tell me roughly what you say when you call these people. Is it okay if I ask my buyer's agent to keep submitting lowball offers? So while you're answering, Carlos, so Apple user, I don't believe in lowball offers. There's no such thing as in my opinion, there's no such thing as a lowball offer. I think, and I don't want to argue semantics, okay, but In my opinion, buyers have every right to make any offer they want. So if I have a client that I'm working with looking to buy a home and there's a $600,000 listing I show them, one of the things I obviously do is I do an in-depth market analysis of the property, and I tell my client, the buyer, here is the probable range I think this home should sell for. So let's say I show my buying client a home for $600,000, and I do the homework, and the range is 560 to 580 in my opinion. And let's say my client says, I want to make an offer for 500,000. You know what I say? Absolutely fantastic. Let's do it. Why? Because it's their money. They're an adult. I gave them the information. I told them what I thought the probable market value of the home was. But if they want to make an offer for 500,000 because that's what makes sense to them, that's where they're comfortable making an offer, buyers have every right. And if you're a realtor and you're watching, I hope you're listening, because there's a lot of realtors that disagree with me. I know this because they're in my classes. I know this because I'm in Facebook real estate groups where realtors go on and on talking about lowball offers and how upsetting it is, and how their own buying clients need to be more realistic, and how upset the sellers are about these lowball offers. There is no such thing as a lowball offer. There is just an offer that a buyer has made, and that's what the buyer is comfortable offering. Now, what agents will sometimes say is, yeah, but I can't keep driving around, showing this buyer houses all day Saturday, all day Sunday, and them keep wanting to make offers that I know are never going to get accepted. You know what I say to that? You're absolutely right. You don't have to, you as the buyer's agent, you don't have to do it. So as the buyer's agent, you have a choice. Work with them or don't work with them. But what I don't think you have a choice as a buyer's agent is to tell them they have to offer more. I don't think you have the choice to tell them they're never going to get this offer accepted. What I don't think you have a choice to do is try to talk them into offering more than they tell you they want to offer. And some people watching, or if you're a realtor watching, you're going to say, well, yeah, I would never do that. That's crazy. And if you're not a realtor watching, you're like, yeah, I've never heard of it. I've heard about it. It's in real estate Facebook groups all the time. So as a buyer's agent, two choices: work with them and do everything you can to get offers accepted for whatever offer they want to make, or choose not to work with them. And it's totally okay to say, listen, and I have fired buyers before, not necessarily for making lowball offers, but for whatever reason. And I simply say, listen, I don't think I have the services necessary to help you accomplish what you're trying to accomplish with your home buying and home selling needs. And that's okay. But what you don't have, in my opinion, what you don't have the right to do as a buyer's agent is to be pissy at the buyer for making the offer they want to make, to be not ungrateful. What are some other words? Resentful that you're spending time. You're an adult. You're choosing to spend time. You're choosing to invest time with them. They're an adult. They have every right to make any offer they want. User, did I answer the question? Carlos, did I miss your question? You were talking about cold calling around listings, and I think I asked, what do you say when you call? Are you still watching? Good morning, Harleen. If you're still watching, Carlos, let me know. You said you did cold calling, and that you weren't having much success, and we determined you're doing circle prospecting around new listings. Are you enjoy this beautiful day? I'm calling because this is Carlos with Century 21. Are you enjoying this beautiful day? I'm calling because we just sold. Keep going. Tell me the rest. I'm calling because we just sold. Tell me the rest of what you say. Time for vacay. New to the biz, and I want to go after expireds. Well, time for vacay. Thank you so much. I hope you follow my channel. I do a lot of videos. All my videos are for agents, and especially new agents. And I'm going to we're talking with Carlos about prospecting. What he does and what you want to do are sort of the same thing. And we noticed a lot of interest in your neighborhood. Keep going, Carlos. I know TikTok sort of keeps you to, thanks for following Time for Vacay. I know we only have about 150 characters, but keep going. I noticed we just sold a property in your area. I noticed there's a lot of interest in your neighborhood. They shouldn't, buyer agent, I'm going to answer you hypothetically. Good morning, Mom. Mom, I'm in my way. I'm going to answer very hypothetically because I'm not going to say what your agent is doing. But if an agent gets a kickback from a lender, it should be disclosed. This creates a great opportunity for potential sellers. Okay, so Carlos, if you're watching, or this live we drop our lives on TikTok. I'm sorry, we drop our lives on YouTube eventually. So for the video, Carlos cold calls neighbors around just listed and just sold. If you're interested, we could set up a free seller consultation. Okay. Yeah, I don't love that. I don't love that, Carlos, and that's probably why you're not getting good connection. And I'll tell you why, because that sounds like every single phone call that neighbor gets from realtors all the time, and every text message they get. So here's another way to approach it. And again, every market's going to be different. Hi, Patrick. Thanks for joining, and thanks for following, Patrick. So Carlos, stay with me. So if your office sells a listing in, let's call it Briar Grove subdivision, what I want you to do, even if it's not, good morning, Albert, even if it's not your listing, I want you to find out from the listing agent how many showings the listing had. Let's say it had 40 showings. Then when you call these when you call these neighbors of the house that just sold, what I want you to do is say, hey, good morning. My name is Carlos. I apologize, Carlos. Don't remember your last Montero. My name is Carlos Montero. I'm with XYZ Realty. And I'm just calling this morning to let you know that we just sold your neighbor's home around the corner from you at 1400 Breckenridge. So first things first, never lie. Everything I do in real estate, it's ethics. We never lie. So don't say I just sold unless it's your listing. So good morning. Hope you're having a great morning. My name is Carlos Montero with ABC Realty, and I'm just calling you this morning to let you know that we just sold your neighbor's house around the corner, down the street, at the front of the subdivision at 1400 Breckenridge. So already off the bat, we're doing it a little differently. We're calling with value. We're letting them know something of value because everyone wants to know what their house is worth. You know how many people are set up on Zillow, whatever the .com real estate website is, and they get emails letting them know how much their house is worth? Why do you think neighbors go into open houses all the time? It's not because they're just nosy neighbors and they want to know the decoration of that home. They're trying to price their own home. So you're calling and you're giving something of value. I just wanted to let you know that we just sold your neighbor's home. The other part of how you're approaching this is you're saying they're neighbors. You're now demonstrating that of all the realtors in your market, people that they may know, but certainly people that live in their own subdivision, chose you and your company to sell the house. So you're turning a cold call almost into a warm informational call, if that makes sense. And stay with me. So, hey, my name is Carlos Montara with ABC Real. I'm mispronouncing your last name. I apologize. My name is Carlos with ABC Realty, and I'm just calling this morning to let you know that we just sold your neighbor's house, the Smiths, around the corner at 1400 Breckenridge, and we sold it for $685,000. And believe it or not, we had 40 showings on the property, but we could only sell it to one person, which means there are 39 people looking in the neighborhood for a home. And I didn't know if you knew of anyone else thinking of selling in the near future. We're not asking them for a seller consultation. We're not sounding like every other realtor in the universe. What we're doing is we're creating value for them. We're not lying about anything. We're saying, hey, my name is Carlos. I'm with ABC. That sounds great. You like it a little bit, right? So my name is Carlos with ABC Realty. I hope you're having a great morning. I'm just calling today to let you know that we just sold your neighbor's house, the Smith family. I don't know if you know the Smith family. They're around the corner at 1400 Breckenridge, but we just sold their home. It was a beautiful home. They updated the counters. I don't know if you ever came to our open house, but we sold it for $685,000. And the funny thing is we had 40 people we had 40 showings on that house, but we could only sell it to one person, which means there are 39 people that are looking in this area. And I just want to know, do you know of anyone else thinking of selling? Not necessarily them specifically, but do you know of anyone thinking of selling? And the second they say no or whatever, say, fantastic. Well, I wanted to give you that information. I hope to see you at one of my open houses soon. Have a great day. And if you call 25 people and you approach it that way, I think you're going to stay on the phone longer with people. Here's the other thing. They're going to say, oh yeah, well, what was the square footage? Or I'll tell you what, say we just sold the house around the corner. The Smith family. I don't know if you know the Smith family, but we just sold their home around the corner at 1200 Breckenridge. And we had and don't tell them the price. Say we had 40 showings, which means 39 people are still looking in the area. And you know what they're probably going to say? What did it sell for? Say, wow, great question. So it sold for $695,000 and it had about this square footage. Now, if you're asking me what it sold for, have you considered selling? Because we have 39 people that saw the house that couldn't buy the house that, and you could approach it that way. And I'm not saying be aggressive. I'm not saying do the hard sell, but it starts the conversation. So I hope that helps, Carlos. Blake J, any tips for studying for the state exam? I'm old. The last time I studied for it was 30 something years ago. No, memorize. I am guessing there's a lot of online websites. So when I studied it, we used to be able to buy the CD. I know, I am so dang old, but we used to be able to buy a CD that we put in our computer that had all the state and national questions on it. And I just memorized all the questions. When I went to take the test, it was computerized. That's a lie. When I first took it, it wasn't computerized. But it went very, very quickly because I memorized all the questions on the disc.